True strength doesn't roar. It doesn't demand attention or validation. It moves silently, like a shadow crossing the soul at midnight. The weak speak to be seen. The strong observe in silence. Carl Jung once said that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. That's where true strength begins, not in the gym of the body, but in the labyrinth of the mind. When you think less, you stop feeding the chaos of unnecessary thoughts. When you talk less, you conserve the sacred fire of your energy. Focus sharpens, perception deepens, and the noise of the outer world fades into insignificance. The unconscious begins to whisper its secrets, through dreams, through symbols, through the subtle tremors of intuition. This is the moment you face your reflection and realize it's not the world you need to conquer. It's the fragments of yourself hiding behind your own eyes. Power doesn't come from the light you show others. It comes from the darkness you dare to understand. When you enter that darkness willingly, you stop running from yourself. You evolve. You become. Comment this if you feel it. I walk into the dark with open eyes. Number 2, the weight of noise. The mind today is drowning in its own echo. Everyone is speaking, but no one is listening. Words have become armor, layers of noise wrapped around fragile egos terrified of silence. But silence is where the truth begins to form. Jung believed that neurosis often arises when the inner voice is ignored for too long, when the conscious mind fills every empty space with chatter and distraction. Overthinking is the modern disease, a defense against feeling, a way to escape the confrontation with the self. The more you think, the further you drift from what you truly are. The more you speak, the less you understand what you're saying. Strength begins where unnecessary thought ends. When the mind stops running, clarity walks in. When you let the silence breathe, the shadow starts to speak. It doesn't shout. It whispers through symbols, dreams, and forgotten memories, the languages of the unconscious. But most people are too loud to hear it. They mistake busyness for purpose and confusion for intelligence. The wise, however, withdraw. They retreat not from life, but into it, into the deeper layers of perception where meaning hides behind stillness. Jung called it individuation, the journey of becoming whole. It demands silence because the soul does not scream. It waits. Every time you reduce your words, you sharpen your awareness. Every time you think less, you see more. You begin to perceive the invisible threads that move your emotions, your fears, your desires. That is real focus. When you observe reality without distortion, without projection, without needing to control it. The one who can be still in a storm holds the power of creation itself. Silence is not absence. It is the space where transformation begins. In that space, you meet your true nature, raw, unfiltered, eternal. So stop explaining, stop proving, stop performing, let the noise collapse. And from the wreckage of your restless thoughts, let awareness rise like dawn breaking through ruins. Comment this if you understand the calling. My silence speaks louder than my fear. Number 3, the discipline of stillness. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the mastery of motion. It is the art of standing perfectly centered while the world trembles around you. Carl Jung understood that stillness is not laziness or indifference. It is inner alignment. It is the moment when the conscious mind bows before the greater intelligence of the unconscious. To be still is to hold a mirror up to the storm within and refuse to flinch. Most people cannot do this. They rush to escape the silence because it reflects everything they've been avoiding, their fears, their contradictions, their unrealized potential. But the warrior of the psyche learns to sit with the discomfort, to listen, to let the shadows crawl out from the corners of his mind and introduce themselves. This is the discipline of stillness, the courage to confront, not to flee. When you stop reacting, life starts revealing. When you stop forcing outcomes, patterns start to emerge. In stillness, the fragmented pieces of your being begin to recognize each other, and the false self begins to dissolve. Every breath becomes a conversation with the eternal. Every heartbeat echoes the rhythm of the collective unconscious, the shared memory of every soul that ever lived. The ego resists this. It feeds on noise, drama, and distraction. But the self, the deeper essence Jung spoke of, waits patiently beneath the turbulence, calling you home. The discipline of stillness is not achieved in a day. It is cultivated like a sacred fire. One breath, one silence, one honest moment at a time. In stillness, you begin to understand that strength is not in domination, but in awareness. Power is not in noise, but in clarity. The truest warriors are those who can stand in the quiet and not lose themselves. So sit, breathe, listen. The universe is not outside you. It's pulsing beneath your ribs, waiting to be heard. If you understand this, if you feel it stirring within you, comment this: I master chaos through stillness. Number 4. The shadow's gift. The shadow is not your enemy. It is your forgotten teacher, your silent twin, the dark mirror of your potential. Carl Jung taught that what you repress does not disappear. It waits. It grows roots in the unconscious and begins to shape your destiny from beneath awareness. The traits you deny, your anger, your jealousy, your selfishness, your lust, your pride, these are not flaws to destroy, but energies to integrate. The shadow holds everything you've judged, rejected, and buried. But inside that darkness lies the raw material of transformation. To meet the shadow is to meet the truth about who you are when the masks fall. It's not a pleasant meeting. It burns. It unsettles. It humbles. Yet every hero's journey begins with that descent. The confrontation with the dragon, the crossing into the underworld. The dragon, in Jungian terms, is your own unclaimed power. To face it is to reclaim yourself. To avoid it is to remain half alive. The shadow's gift is brutal honesty. It shows you what you secretly desire, what you fear, what you envy, and what you're capable of when stripped of pretense. When you embrace it, you stop projecting it onto others. You stop fighting ghosts in people because you've made peace with the ghosts inside you. Integration is liberation. It's the realization that light and dark are not enemies. They are partners in the creation of the whole. Without the night, the stars are invisible. Without the shadow, the soul cannot see its own depth. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." That's the work. That's the path. To dive into what terrifies you until fear becomes understanding and pain becomes wisdom. The shadow will test you, but it will also crown you, because only those who've faced their own abyss can guide others out of theirs. So look within, not to destroy the darkness, but to claim it. There's gold buried in that soil, and only the brave dig deep enough to find it. If you're ready to face your dragon and take back your fire, comment this: I claim my shadow with strength and clarity. Number 5. The fire of focus. Focus is not merely attention, it is spiritual fire. It is the blade that cuts through illusion, the force that burns away distraction and reveals the essence beneath. Carl Jung believed that what you focus on grows powerful, and what you ignore sinks into the unconscious, shaping your life in unseen ways. Focus is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious. It is how you turn chaos into order and dreams into form. Yet in a world addicted to fragmentation, focus has become rebellion. People scatter their minds like ashes in the wind, scrolling, reacting, escaping, never realizing they are leaking their own life force. But the one who learns to focus reclaims that energy. He draws his scattered pieces back into alignment and becomes a vessel of precision. True focus is not about effort, it is about presence. It is being entirely here in this breath, this action, this moment. When you focus deeply, time bends. The outer world fades and the inner world ignites. That's when creation happens. The unconscious begins to flow into the conscious, and inspiration turns into manifestation. Jung called this the process of individuation, the integration of all opposites into unity. Focus is the fire that forges that union. Every thought you feed is a seed, every distraction is a theft. To focus is to choose what you will become. The alchemists understood this. They didn't transform lead into gold by chance, but by absolute concentration of intent. So too must you fix your inner gaze, unwavering, upon what matters, not to the ego, but to the soul. Discipline is devotion disguised as action. The mind will resist. It will tempt you with noise, comfort, and endless novelty. But those who master focus master destiny. Because energy, like fire, consumes whatever it touches. Aim it wisely, and it will illuminate your path. Waste it carelessly, and it will devour you from within. The fire of focus is sacred, a gift and a responsibility. Guard it, feed it with silence, nourish it with clarity, and let it light the way through your shadow. If you feel this truth burning in you, comment this: my focus is my fire. Number 6. The power of restraint. Restraint is not suppression, it is mastery. It is the silent art of holding immense power without the need to display it. Carl Jung taught that what is not mastered within will control us from without, that the one who cannot restrain his impulses becomes a puppet of his unconscious drives. True restraint, therefore, is the beginning of inner sovereignty. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you could act, but choose not to. The world glorifies expression, reaction, endless self-disclosure. But real strength moves beneath the surface. Restraint is the discipline of energy, the ability to direct it rather than be consumed by it. Every moment you resist the urge to prove, to argue, to lash out. You are reclaiming your psychic power from the hands of chaos. You are teaching your unconscious who is in command. Restraint sharpens the edge of awareness. It transforms reaction into observation, impulse into insight. The restrained mind does not rush. It studies, it listens, it waits for alignment. Jung once wrote that, in all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder, a secret order. To find that order, you must stop scattering yourself. You must stop leaking your strength through meaningless conflict and emotional noise. Restraint is not weakness. It is the stillness of the archer before the release. It is the lion crouched in silence before the strike. It is the sage who speaks only when words can serve truth. When you cultivate restraint, you become like a deep river, calm on the surface, but unstoppable in its depth. You stop wasting energy on the trivial and redirect it toward creation, transformation, purpose. Every time you hold back from explaining yourself to those who will never understand, you are conserving sacred fire. Every time you delay gratification to pursue long mastery instead of instant validation, you are turning desire into discipline. Restraint is the bridge between chaos and character. It allows the unconscious energies, lust, anger, fear, greed, to become fuel instead of fire. Without restraint, they consume. With it, they illuminate. Jung called this process sublimation, the redirection of primal forces into higher forms of expression. The artist, the warrior, the mystic, all must learn it. Restraint gives form to passion and structure to freedom. It is how you hold the storm within without letting it destroy you. The modern world will call you cold for being composed, arrogant for being selective, distant for being disciplined. Let them. The noise of the unrestrained is not your concern. You are building something sacred, inner order, inner command, inner peace. You do not need to prove your control. Your silence proves it for you. Restraint is divine containment, the vessel through which wisdom flows. To master yourself is to master your fate. To hold your fire is to rule your inner kingdom. If you understand this, comment this below. My restraint is my crown. Number 7. The silence of power. Power does not announce itself. It moves quietly, invisibly, through the cracks of perception. The truly powerful have no need to declare their strength because their presence alone alters the field around them. Carl Jung understood that real power is rooted not in domination, but in integration, the union of opposites within the psyche. The loud seek validation, the silent seek truth. The loud impose their will outward, the silent master their will inward. The silence of power is not emptiness, but fullness contained. It is energy so complete, it no longer needs to prove itself. In the modern world, silence is misunderstood. People equate it with weakness, submission, or lack of confidence. But Jung would say it's the natural language of the self, the deeper eternal essence that watches the play of the ego with quiet detachment. The self does not shout, it radiates. It observes chaos, but is never consumed by it. To cultivate this silence is to rise above the storm of reaction. It is to see clearly when others are blinded by emotion. It is to act only when alignment demands it. In silence, the unconscious speaks, not through words, but through symbols, synchronicities, and intuition. The wise learn to read these invisible messages. They trust the slow rhythm of transformation. They understand that silence is not passive, it's preparation. Before every revelation, there is a pause. Before every breakthrough, a stillness. Power gathers in that pause. Like a bow drawn back before release, silence compresses force into precision. The shallow mind fears silence because it reveals the emptiness within. The deep mind loves it because it discovers infinity there. Silence also protects. The one who speaks too soon gives away his vision before it is ready to be born. The one who shares too much of his soul invites others to shape it. The powerful understand that not every truth is meant to be spoken, not every battle is meant to be fought, not every emotion is meant to be shown. They carry their strength like a concealed flame, felt, not flaunted. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Silence is how you make that unconscious visible. It's how you sense the subtle shifts within and steer your destiny with awareness. The silence of power is magnetic. It draws respect without demand, influence without effort. People sense the gravity of your centeredness and feel their own noise dissolve around it. You become the eye of the storm, calm, watchful, immovable. This is not arrogance, it's alignment with the eternal. Speak less, listen more. Let your energy, not your ego, speak for you. True power doesn't echo, it resonates. If you understand this silence, if you can feel its strength breathing inside you, comment this: "My silence commands my world." Number 8. The alchemy of pain. Pain is not punishment, it is initiation. Every wound carries a message from the unconscious, a fragment of the self, trying to speak in a language older than words. Carl Jung taught that suffering is the process through which the soul expands, that pain is the fire of transformation, the crucible where ego burns and essence is revealed. Most flee from it, numb it, medicate it, bury it. But the alchemist within you knows that nothing evolves without destruction. You cannot ascend without first descending. You cannot awaken without first dying to who you were. Pain is the shadow's whisper saying, "There's something here you still need to learn." The alchemy of pain begins when you stop resisting and start listening. The energy trapped in your suffering is the same energy that can heal you, if you allow it to complete its cycle. Pain is condensed consciousness. When you meet it with awareness, it unfolds into understanding. Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." That means every heartbreak, betrayal, failure, or loss is a teacher disguised in torment. The fire that scorches you also purifies you. The ashes you dread are the soil from which your new self grows. Every time you survive, a piece of you that was false dies, and something indestructible takes its place. Most people live in avoidance. They think healing means escaping discomfort, but the real path to wholeness is to descend willingly into the wound. That descent is sacred. It's where the fragments of your psyche gather, where the forgotten gods of your inner world wait to be remembered. The pain becomes a doorway, and if you walk through it consciously, you emerge changed, lighter, sharper, more awake. The alchemy of pain is about turning suffering into strength, despair into depth, and fear into fuel. It is psychological gold smelted in the furnace of human experience. You become both the fire and the metal, both the destroyer and the reborn. When you stop asking, "Why me?" and begin asking, "What is this trying to show me?" you shift from victim to creator. You begin to see patterns, not punishments. You realize life isn't attacking you, it's sculpting you. Your scars are not flaws, they're sigils of transformation. Every scar says, "I met the darkness and learned its language." The pain was not meaningless. It was initiation into your own power. So the next time the fire returns, don't run, refine. Don't curse the darkness, become its interpreter. Alchemy begins where resistance ends. Pain ends where understanding begins. If this truth vibrates in your bones, comment this: I transform my pain into power. Number 9. The awakening of the self. Awakening is not a moment of light. It is a lifetime of integration. It does not arrive with fanfare or divine fireworks. It creeps in slowly, like dawn seeping through the cracks of a long night. Carl Jung described this process as individuation, the awakening of the self, the totality of who you are beyond masks, roles, and illusions. The self is not the ego's perfected form. It is the union of all that you are and all that you have denied. To awaken is to stand in the tension of opposites, your light and your darkness, your reason and your instinct, your chaos and your order, and to hold them both without breaking. This is not peace as comfort, but peace as comprehension. It is the deep, terrifying realization that you are not a single thing, but a vast constellation of conflicting forces orbiting a silent center. That center, the self, is not found by escape, but by return. The ego believes awakening is achievement. The self knows it is surrender. You cannot force the self awake. It wakes you. It rearranges your inner architecture, tearing down false walls, exposing every illusion of control. It is both beautiful and brutal. You begin to see your life as a symbolic narrative, a dream orchestrated by the unconscious to awaken you through experience. Every person becomes a mirror, every event a message. What you once called coincidence, you now recognize as synchronicity, the universe conversing in patterns. Jung believed the self communicates through symbols because symbols speak directly to the soul. When you learn to read them, life stops being random. It becomes revelation. But awakening demands sacrifice. The false self, the persona that craves approval and fears rejection, must die for the true self to rise. You will lose identities, attachments, and illusions. You will be misunderstood because awakening detaches you from the collective trance. The herd no longer feels like home, yet solitude becomes sacred because within silence you begin to feel the pulse of the infinite. You realize you are not separate from life, you are life, observing itself. This realization brings both humility and power. Humility because you see how small the ego truly is. Power because you realize the divine consciousness that moves galaxies also breathes through you. The awakened self doesn't seek control, it seeks coherence. It doesn't crave dominance, it seeks alignment. You stop reacting to circumstances and start responding to meaning. You begin to live symbolically, intentionally, consciously. The chaos outside no longer shakes you because you have found the center within. This is what Jung meant when he said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." The awakening of the self is not the end of suffering, it is the understanding of it. Pain becomes a messenger, joy becomes a guide, and existence becomes art. You walk the world not as a seeker anymore, but as a participant in creation. You see through illusion, but you still honor the dream because you know it's how the soul learns to see itself. If you've felt this stirring inside, the pull toward your own center, the slow unveiling of what was always there, then the journey has already begun. You are not finding yourself, you are remembering. Comment this to mark your awakening. I rise from illusion into truth. Number 10. The return to wholeness. Wholeness is not perfection. It is inclusion. It is not the absence of conflict, but the embrace of it. Carl Jung said that the goal of life is not happiness, but wholeness, because happiness depends on conditions, while wholeness transcends them. To return to wholeness is to gather every fragment of yourself that you once exiled, the sinner and the saint, the coward and the warrior, the child and the elder, the dreamer and the skeptic, and seat them all at the same inner table. You stop dividing your soul into acceptable and forbidden parts. You stop pretending to be pure light, and instead you become the whole spectrum. In that acceptance, peace begins to grow. The war within ends, not because one side wins, but because you finally understand both sides are you. The journey through thought, silence, focus, restraint, and shadow has been leading to this moment, this quiet, powerful integration. You realize that every fall was an initiation, every wound was wisdom in disguise, every darkness was a bridge back to the light. Wholeness is the realization that nothing in you was ever wasted. The chaos had purpose, the pain had direction, the silence was never empty. It was pregnant with becoming. Jung wrote that one does not heal by imagining light, but by making the darkness conscious. To be whole is to live as that balance, to be both ocean and flame, both night and dawn. It's to walk through the world with eyes that no longer seek escape but understanding. You don't chase meaning anymore, you embody it. You become a living symbol of your own transformation. Wholeness is the final alchemy, where all opposites dissolve into unity. You speak less because truth no longer needs explanation. You think less because awareness has replaced analysis. You focus effortlessly because everything you do now rises from alignment. You have learned the secret. That strength was never about control, but consciousness. You have walked through the shadow, through pain, through silence, and you have returned, not as who you were, but as who you were meant to be. Comment this one last time to seal your evolution. I am whole, and I am awake. And if this journey resonated with your inner depths, like, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next descent into the shadow self.